Hello, welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me, as always, our local resident expert in football, Tate Mathews. Tate, Battle of the Woods week, man.
Big week. I'm pumped.
Always. This is one of my favorite rivals that we have here in the WCS Sports Conference. It'll be the most well-attended, probably, it has been in the last 3 years running. And these two teams coming in, man, on a hot streak right now. You've got one team that's undefeated. You've got one team that arguably probably could be undefeated, but they're 3-1 coming in. What does this battle have in store for us?
Well, I think it's the great thing about it is going into the season, everybody had high hopes and expectations for Brentwood. Didn't know what to expect out of Ravenwood. As you mentioned, they very easily could have won that Centennial game. Maybe it was what they needed. Okay, sometimes a loss like that in the first game kind of maybe gets your attention a little bit, and they realize, hey, we're a lot better than we thought we were going to be, and they've gone on a heck of a run. So it always means a lot when you get these two schools together, the Battle of the Woods. Obviously, Ravenwood came from Brentwood, but now with the way Ravenwood is playing, Ravenwood's going to try to get – Ravenwood's still very much in the middle of this region race. Brentwood yet to have a loss. Brentwood could pretty much seal this thing up with a win, but Ravenwood could also make it with a victory over Brentwood. This thing's wide open. So it's always fun, and it looks like Ravenwood's back to playing really, really exciting football. Right now, Brentwood might be the fastest show on turf on offense, and it will be on turf. It's gonna be a fun game.
So what's Coach Crawford going to say about Raptor Fast?
Well, we got to make sure that we're in our alignment, and we got to make sure that we know our assignments, and it's going to be assignment football. They're going to play fast, but we like to play fast too. You know, we run a little bit of spread offense too with Carson Shacklet back there at quarterback coach. But it's going to be a fun game. Battle of the Woods.
It is going to be a fun game, Coach Crawford, and you better get ready. Holmes for Ravenwood right now. Some serious speed.
He's a nice player.
He is a good player. Nick Stallcup, also a good player. Was quarterback first year. They've made a quarterback change. Brian Garcia has been very, very efficient and effective in the quarterback position.
Yeah, he has, and he's. They kind of felt like, I think, going into the season that he was the better thrower of the two. But they both do a lot of things well. Obviously, Nick can run the ball, 163 rushing yards last week, but also a TD pass. He had a rushing touchdown, 163 rushing yards, but also a TD pass, I believe, a 36-yard TD pass. So they feel really good when either one of them's in the game.
All right, let's talk about Week 4. Week 4 is now in the books. We end up going 3-2 on the week, or 10-8 overall non-conference, slowly kind of making that separation from being above 500. Let's start right here. Fairview 2-2, 1-0 in region play at Waverly. They lost in double overtime, 50-49. Coach Hughes told me on Saturday, plenty of opportunities to win this game. No reason they should have lost. Just didn't play very good. Had a couple of fumbles on the 1-yard line. Gave it right back to them, which they scored on both those possessions. We're up at one point in time, 28-14. Let them back in it. Then had to come from behind, 35-28, to even tie it back up to get in first overtime.
Well, that tells you, how well they played on offense if they fumbled 2 times going in and they still scored 49 points. So obviously, it was more on the defensive end. And Waverly's a really good offense. They scored a lot of points against a lot of guys. They've got a really dynamic player. Montez Bradley had a hard time containing them. He had over 200 yards and a few touchdowns. So, you got to find a way to figure that out. One good thing, I don't think they will see another offense like that the rest of the regular season. But here's why they need to figure it out. They, at some point, if they're going to do what they want to do, we're going to see Pearl Cone. And if they think that Waverly offense is explosive, wait till they see them. Good thing about Fairview, obviously, their offense is very explosive. And Cam Harris-Lusk, he had 158 yards passing, 106 rushing, 2 touchdowns. And I think the thing that's been fun to watch, we talked about last year, he's just a sophomore. Now he's a junior. We knew he was going to be better as a quarterback just by being a junior, being a year older. But Darius James, the addition to him at tailback, we did not see him in the Page game, but we've seen him ever since. He had 210 yards and 3 touchdowns. So those two, it really keeps that defense, the opposing defense is honest against Fairview, and I think this is something you're going to continue to see. They're going to keep scoring points. Let's figure the defensive part out, and we're going to be okay.
Fairview could arguably be undefeated right now.
Right.
They're the best non undefeated 2-2 team there is. I would like to say that, but at the same time, what's in store right here? Do we have a hangover from this game, or do we move forward? We know we have Camden coming up. They just need to really focus on these region games, get those region games under the belt, win those games,
right,
and get themselves in position for playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think there's a hangover. I mean, one of the losses is Page, who is a crosstown rival, but a 5A program, right? So it matters, but it doesn't count. Let's get these region games. Let's get some home playoff games, and you could very easily make a run in the playoffs. And the goal is to get to Cookeville, and they can still do that.
Well, speaking of Page moves to 3-1. They're still undefeated in region play, but they played Ravenwood, Raptor fast, traveled down to the Page Patriots. I was at that game, Tate. Looked like to be probably one of the record crowds they've ever had. Great atmosphere, perfect weather for this night. And it was 46-21 Ravenwood wins. It was a little closer than what the score indicated. I mean, at one point in time, it was 21-23, 21-26 in that range. And they traded touchdown for touchdown, early on. But then in the third quarter, midway through the third quarter, it was just obvious that the size, the depth, and the speed of Ravenwood, Page just couldn't keep up with that.
Yeah, it sounds about right. And you wouldn't think there's that big of a jump from 5A to 6A. There is. And we got to remember this is their first year in 5A. They've been in 4A before that. So I would have thought that numbers could be a factor in the second half. And again, Raven was playing really well too. So I mean, I think this is a really good 6A program. So, but just they're trying to play fast. They're trying to play fast, and they've got Garcia and Stallcup. Going in at quarterback, and then they've got so many running backs coming at you. I think they had 7 guys carry the ball. So over a 4-quarter game, that kind of wears down on Page a little bit, and I think we knew going in they couldn't turn the ball over. They did, and it seems like that's about where it kind of slipped away from them a little bit.
Sure did. The 1-2 punch of Page, the thunder and lightning of Van Lanningham and Bubba Johnson. They both had a really good first half. Started the second half. Van Lanningham breaks away for about a 52-yard touchdown. Very elusive, very quick. Bubba had a really good first half as well, but at some point in time they've got to connect on those on the receiving part. Will Pierce had a couple of targets there. If you connect on those, game could be a little different.
Right.
But then they put the ball on the ground there too. One very important possession, which Ravenwood came down and scored to try to really put that gap in it. But you look at Nick Stallcup too. 16 carries, 149 yards. He has a great game. Former quarterback, now rushing, super fast. What that brings, that dynamic that brings to him, not just to him. He's a running threat. And Garcia as well, accounted for 149 yards, had one pick there. I believe it was Burdick that actually got it, if I'm not mistaken. Michael Burdick playing really well on the defensive side of the ball for Page.
That's at least 5 picks. At least. I don't know what he did last week, but at least 5 interceptions on the season for him if he's done that.
Right.
It's pretty impressive.
And Ravenwood finishes the game 46-21. Raptor Fast is alive and well. They have a good following right now. Student section, people are believing in this team. And what Coach Daniels has done, speed it up. Let's get it out. Let's go as fast as we can possibly go. And it's really working for them right now.
Oh, without a doubt. And they've got a lot of guys that he's talked about, between Holmes and Garcia and Cameron Shear, those guys. They've got a lot of guys that can run the ball. So they're playing fast, and they're spreading out, but they're going to run the ball. Now, they're going to pass off that some, but what they're going to be about is running the ball. That's where their strengths are, and he's found a way to make sure that all those guys are touching the ball. And I think it's, the excitement's back anyways, but then when you have that many people involved, they buy in more. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just he's got a good atmosphere going on over there right now.
Talking about the fastest game on turf Friday night. Could have very well been this game. Nolensville hosted Summit. Old Sparty moves to 3-1, 1-0 in region play. They won 41-17. It was a lot closer than this score indicated it will. At one point in time, it was 27-17. And that brings us to the play of the week where Zach Campbell, late in the fourth quarter, runs a full 98 yards for the touchdown.
Interesting to see sometime down the line this year if they have any trickeration out of that formation that they do.
Absolutely, I'm sure there's something out of it. So Campbell's taking it from the 5 here with a boost of speed. He is free. Great blocking up front, and he is gone.
Well, we mentioned it. The special teams play, and there it is.
You called it, Creed. And just like we have called all night, Campbell's speed was just on showcase there.
He ran right out of our camera shot there too. There he is. What a nice job by that man. Just hit the seam and never slowed down.
Absolutely.
You know, we mentioned time was starting to be a factor. You know, we were looking at it, and that's the way you want to answer if you're Nolensville from a time
Left
perspective.
to right. He saw that hole and he just shot right through.
Yeah. Nice little seam, and I think he grabbed it on about the 5, and I don't think he slowed down one step as he took off. So very nice job of that by the Nolensville special teams unit.
That's looks like it's gonna bring Independence to 2-2 now. And as we see Ty Carter, just refusing to go down, and that's gonna be another touchdown for the Spartans.
Nice run by Ty Carter, just doing what Ty Carter does. Summit crowd is pumped here. We see Ty Carter on the replay taking the handoff.
He's not a huge back, but the way that he's able to use that stiff arm, just keep distance from defenders. I mean, and with his speed, that's
Plays
pretty
with
impressive.
tenacity, you know.
Absolutely.
As you see, we had 2 plays a week. Zach Campbell obviously hits the hole pretty fast.
Yes.
I mean, it was like lightning going through there. And then you've got Ty Carter, the power, as well as the speed coming back there, scoring the touchdown. What can you say right now about Summit?
Well, they're playing really well. You take away the Spring Hill game, open week, and they've won every game. They're really and it's something that I think he's wanted to be ever since he's got there. I think they're been more physical in every single one of their games that they played, and then Ty's back, and so the thing that really stands out to me, Ty 175 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, but Odumegwu, he's a player now. He proved that even with Ty gone, he can tote the mail. He had over 102 yards and 1 rushing touchdown, and then with Jatavion Hayes, you got 3 guys now. Before we used to always talk about Ty was their home run hitter. He's their home run hitter. If we can just get him a crease, which you just saw on that play, that second play of the game, if he gets to the second level, you got problems. I mean, you can't let him get there. And Odumegwu's becoming like that too. So got a couple of home run hitters, but the offensive line it's something that they've kind of hung their hat on. They want to be the more physical team this year. So far, every game, I did not see Spring Hill, but I think they were for most of that game. They've gone out and done that. So, they're sitting right now at the top of their region, playing really, really well. And so, I think this is a year that can be, who knows, maybe the first region championship. But they're doing what they're supposed to do.
You mentioned Odumegwu. Odumegwu right now has accounted for 67 touches, 380 yards for the season. Him and Ty Carter both combined right now for 805. We're in week 4.
Well, and remember,
into
before
week
the
5.
season, we talked about going into it. We knew Ty was back.
Right.
We had those 3 guys that were losing. Who's going to replace those yards? Well, he's been a big part of it.
Schlagenholt, is he not the punter as well?
Kicker,
excuse me. He's accounted for 168.
I
So
love it.
we're trying to replace that 3-headed monster last year. But you mentioned Jadavion Hayes. He's not getting a whole lot of touches from in the backfield, but he brings a completely different dynamic to the game, especially on special teams. But then you look at receiving. Okay, wing T offense, not known for a lot of throws.
Harry Coleman hadn't taken
Here we
flight
go.
yet.
Not yet. But Odumegwu has got 3 catches for 115 yards right now. Ethan Cash, 10 of 22 attempts for 223 yards. So what crease, what wrinkle do you have in the plan there? Then you have Ty Carter he's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
He's 100% for 2 touchdowns because of they have to arm the run. Throw the ball. Just kidding. When you got people like that in the backfield, keep it going and then hit them. That's what got him the win at Indy, I think. I think it was great play calling. Listen to me. I know he's going to laugh at that. Great play calling. Catch him at the
You really like that wheel route.
Yeah, I do love the wheel route. Misdirection to the wheel route. It's nice. But anyway, I'm just saying, you catch them off guard. You think run all the time, and then you hit them with the drag across the middle from the tight end spot.
Well, yeah, I think it was a big part of the Independence win. I think in this week they felt like, and they probably could, that there was no need, that they could run the ball. It's like Jerry Pearson used to say, when you throw the ball, there's 3 things that can happen. 2 of them are bad, right? I think Coleman kind of took that philosophy last Friday night. But they could win this game running the football. And I think that's what they did. And,
So no reason to press.
I don't think so.
Stick to what you're good at.
Stick to what you're good at. You got a sophomore quarterback. Keep bringing him along. He's going to get better week after week after week. At some point, they're going to need it, but they didn't need it Friday night.
And Coach Coleman's saying right now, stick to what you're good at.
That's right.
And it's not talking about me
selling socks.
That's right. That's right. Centennial 1-3. Took it on the chin against Cane Ridge. Lost 28-12. We knew this was going to be an uphill battle. Cane Ridge, a very good 6A program. Centennial 28-12. What do we know about this game?
They saw a better team. I mean, you know, Centennials, they've got some things they're trying to figure out right now. One of the things that usually is in their favor is their speed. You know, and kind of like what we were talking about with Summit, if they can get their running backs to the second level, usually those are big gains. That's not the way it works against Cane Ridge, which makes the Brentwood win against them even more impressive. But you know, they're a fast, athletic team. They're well coached, and they're really coming along on offense. So, you know, when it comes down to it, they got beat by a better team.
Centennial, when we start looking at the Region 6A here in just a minute, you got to think it's going to come down to a huge matchup between Franklin and Centennial.
Without a doubt.
Pretty much, it's going to look. If you look at it right now, Independence has got the tying edge on them because they beat Centennial. Then you've got to look at Ravenwood.
How big is that game now? You know what I'm saying?
Ravenwood beat Franklin.
Right.
So the Independence-Franklin game this week is huge, and then you've got that game right there. If Franklin was to beat Indy, now Franklin's got the tiebreaker on them. I mean, this thing can go 100 different ways, but right now you're pretty much playing for your playoff life from this point out.
That's right.
Brentwood, 4-0, 2-0. Coach Crawford moves to stay on top in Region 6A play, but stays undefeated. Stewart Creek, here's an interesting nugget. They beat Stewart's Creek 42-7. They've outscored their opponents, Tate, 135-38. That's a plus 97. They're averaging 34 points, Coach Crawford. You're doing a nice job on offense.
Well, they're averaging 34 points, and I know their quarterback did not play the second half. Their starting quarterback did not play the second half last week. I don't think he did the week before. So they're averaging 34 points. And
now, in that same vein, Caden Dreyer could probably start for the majority of teams that play for a quarterback. So when you say didn't start, we brought in Caden Dreyer, who ended the year last year in the semis in 5A as a starting quarterback, but decided they moved him in a different position, which has been very, very fruitful for them. But now you put him at quarterback at some point in time like this to get him some reps. That's just like having another starter out there.
Yeah, that's right. And he threw a touchdown pass Friday night, so it was nice to see. It was nice to see him do that. But yeah, I mean, averaging 34 points a game, it could be more. We talk about it every week on the show. Carson Shacklet just keeps getting better. He went 10 for 11 for 223 yards and 4 touchdowns, and I think that incompletion was a drop. I think it hit the receiver and he dropped it. So he should have been 11 for 11 now. You know, I don't care.
What's that quarterback rating?
I think it stops, right? It tops out. But I don't care. You know, there's guys that can't go 10 for 11 against air, you know, and so he's doing it out there. And the thing I still love about it, 4 different guys caught touchdown passes last night. Williams caught, or Friday night, Williams, Bishop, Yoakum, and then I think Williams caught 2, and then Caden Dreyer hit Cleveland Smith. So they're playing really, really well right now. And then on defense, C.J. Grissom, he's kind of the leader on that defense. He's a physical guy, an intense guy, 7 tackles in the first half alone. That's where I think some of the things are getting lost. I think this team is more physical than what people might think they are because they're Brentwood.
And people can forget at the same time, too, that most of these stats, like you mentioned, are all coming in the first half. I mean, he dresses over 100 kids. There's a lot of kids getting a lot of playing time in those second halves. And that's good. That's good. Now, I think that the majority of his non-region schedule is gone. Now you're looking at facing the Region 6A teams the rest of the way out, which will be interesting to see how these games play out. You look at that Franklin game. He only won, 14-10?
Yes.
And, Franklin played Inspire Ball. That you don't have to get those kids up for that. But how's this going to be? I think this week is such a tale of the tape of where Brentwood and Ravenwood both are midstream.
It's going to be a great game. I mean, it's exciting. Those guys that sat out the second half of the last 2 games, They know, hey, I'm going to get to play 4 quarters this week. So that's something they're excited about. And you mentioned, and that's the neat thing about those kind of games. You mentioned they've got over 100 guys on the team. So in the last 2 weeks, some of the guys that haven't gotten to play very much probably aren't going to get to play very much anymore. But they show up every day at practice. They do all the things they're supposed to do. They were at weights all summer long. I'm sorry. That's a time for them to get their time and to shine. And I think that's a great thing. So I'm glad that happened, but that's not going to happen this week.
Franklin, Coach Donnie Webb gets their first win of the year, moves to 1-3 against McGavick, who was previously undefeated, beat McGavick 34-7.
Yep, Carter Henry didn't know if he was going to play. He did play. He played well, 81 passing yards, 73 rushing yards, and a TD. Matt Gacka keeps emerging as a weapon on offense. He had 94 yards rushing and a TD. He's playing really well. And so, we didn't know quite what to expect from McGavick because they were undefeated. They're definitely athletic and they're definitely fast. The defense played really, really well. And again, 34-7 victory. So we talked about it. Franklin has to be the best 0-3 team in the state. McGavick got an up-close look at that last Friday night.
Independence, Franklin this week. You have to think this, the importance of this game for both of these teams. It's like now Independence is one of those wake a sleeping dragon. Now here they are. They've won 2 in a row against Hillsboro. Now, to me, I have not seen Hillsboro play. I automatically assume that Hillsboro is the same kind of caliber team they are year in and year out. Plenty of athletes. And then Independence comes in here questioning, wavering. Which Independence team is going to show up? 49-21. Independence wins big. This is what I like to see right here. Nate Sisko, quarterback for Independence, 18-23, 341 yards, 5 touchdowns. That is an Independence quarterback-styled game with the stats that go along with it. Obviously, 8 rushes from Troy Henderson at 91 yards, which I think is very important to set up that run, set up the passing game. Is Troy in the backfield has to have significant yardage to keep the defense on their toes.
Oh yeah, he also had 2 receptions for 50 yards, and Hillsboro's very athletic, and Independence went out there and they out-athleted them. So Cisco had 5 touchdowns. The thing that was awesome is you don't see it in the final score. They were up 35-7 in the second quarter, okay? And this is against a good football team. So they were up 35-7. It really clicked. Sheffield with 2 touchdowns. Scurry with a touchdown. Brian Pierce had a touchdown. So they're playing really, really well. You're talking about the Franklin Independence game. Most of the time it is, but this week more than ever, this game will be won in the trenches. Whoever wins the trenches will win this game.
Well, Region 6-6A is going to become a logjam. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you look at this thing right now. Region 6-6A, Brentwood on top, 2-0, has a leg up, pretty much guaranteed walking into the playoffs and going to host.
Especially if they win this Friday.
Right. Then you got Independence sitting there at 1-0 playing Franklin this week. Franklin right now is 0-2. Franklin has to almost get a win this week to look at a possibility of getting in. Then you got Centennial at 1-1. They beat, obviously, Franklin earlier. They lost to Independence, so Independence has any kind of tiebreaker there. Ravenwood, Indy setting up. Now, what you got to look at is this Ravenwood, Indy possibility of trying to get in that second slot of trying to get into, or hosting, rather, a playoff game. Right. Dixon hasn't won, not going to win. So, I mean, the question is, which one of our group is going to be outside looking in?
Well, Centennial beat Ravenwood. Ravenwood beat Franklin.
Right.
Okay. It's going to come down to that Centennial-Franklin game.
I mean, Battle of Franklin. All right, let's get to it right here. Fairview 2-2 at Camden 1-3. Lost to Huntington last week 34-0. They have beaten Harpeth earlier in the year. Just to throw this nugget at you, Camden has been outscored 36-112. That's a minus 76 points differential. What do you think?
The Camden Lions, I believe they are.
That's correct.
Coach Blow is a good man. It's going to be a long Friday night for him. He's got an angry Chris Hughes coming his way. Fairview.
It's pretty easy, right?
I mean, yes.
So Fairview's going to get on the bus. They have to ford the river over there to get up to Camden.
They can stop at Loretta Lynn's.
That's right, Dude Ranch.
At Loretta Lynn's Dude Ranch by 9:15.
By 9:15. Game starts at 7:30, by the way, so that's a pretty quick turnaround.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, those games start a little later. this one will end pretty quick too. Fairview rolls in that game. All right, Page 3-1 at Antioch. This is a very interesting matchup. Antioch did lose to Siegel 43-6.
And Leland Wilhoit rushed for over 200 yards.
Oh, man.
All right. Bubba Johnson rushes for over 150. Antioch's a 6A team. Page wins easily.
First 6A win for Coach Rathbone?
Yes.
I agree with you, Paige. I was hoping that you'd take Antioch just because of the fact that I'm behind some games here. Nolensville versus Lawrence County. I'm telling you right now, mark it down. First win for the Knights. Mr. Producer, make sure you save that tape. Lawrence County lost to Columbia 21-6. I think that's fool's gold down there in Murray County. I'm not sure that that's as good as advertised.
I saw them in the Jamboree. They got a quarterback that can run and pass.
Uh-oh.
They run a little bit of a wing tee, a little bit of an option. I think Nolensville gets the win, without a doubt. But they're going to have to play good defense now. This isn't just a show up and win thing. First win for Coach Will Hester at Nolensville.
That's awesome. Centennial, Dixon County, not sure it's even worth talking about it. They've been outscored 179 points total, 43-172. It's
Centennial.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, they
Get
need
back
this game.
on your horse right there. Centennial wins. Brentwood versus Ravenwood. Battle of the Woods. Huge game. Raptor fast or Brew wins? Who you got?
I'm going to go with Bruin wins. I think Carson Shacklett's the real deal. I think the defense is more physical than we thought, but it's a better game than people think.
I don't disagree, but you know what? I'm going to have to. I got to pick Ravenwood because you're killing me
Love
over
it.
here. So, Coach Daniel, send this message out to you. Raptor fast pulls up the upset over there. Franklin and Indy, this is another tough one.
Tough one. I really don't know which way to go. I'm going to go with Indy because of the wide receivers.
This is a tough one. Dr. Defense, the line could get pressure to Cisco. That's been an Achilles heel. If they can hold them off, I'm going to have to go opposite with you just because I got to make up ground. I'm going to call the Rebels on this one.
I like it.
All right, Old Sparty at Columbia. Popcorn, get it out.
Old Sparty, Eric Coleman.
Eric Coleman will not be Eric Coleman. It will be ground and pound Coleman. And Ty Carter rushes for 200 yards against Columbia. Now, the question is, how many yards does Otomegu have?
Over 100.
Think so? All right. Old Sparty wins that. Region 5, 5A, we're talking about that. Columbia sitting on top with Page and Summit. Three-way tie.
Not after Friday.
Not after Friday. Region 6, 3A, right now, Camden sitting on top and three-way tie with Fairview and Cheatham County. Not after Friday. Mr. Producer, what errors do we have today?
All right, guys, pretty clean show today. No errors on record. I was just going to, in my little moment of spotlight here, I was going to remind people the WCTV game of the week is Franklin at Indy if they're looking for what we're going to be covering. So
Excellent.
Nice show tonight.
I was hoping you'd have something on tape, but he had a clean show. Buddy?
Hey, what's the record, by the way? Do we have time for that?
Yeah, the record is 19-8, 15-12. So my guys that I had to pick. That's why we had to go opposite this week. I wish all of our guys the best of luck, man. It is in the thick of it.
I'm excited. Hey, game day, man.
Oh, game day at the Battle of the Woods. It's going to be a phenomenal show. It will be.
Yep.
Great atmosphere.
Are you going to have a special costume, right? Or outfit?
I don't know. You have to show up to see
Show
that.
up to see.
Yep. I just show up. I look ridiculous anyways. Thanks for seeing us. Thanks for watching the show. We'll see you next time.
You're always trying to keep your kids safe, right? What about preventing concussion? Concussion can happen anywhere, on a sports field, at the park, even at home. So you need to know the ABCs. Assess the situation, be alert for signs and symptoms, and contact a healthcare professional. Most kids recover completely, but seek care to help them get better faster. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. Keep kids safe. It's as simple as ABC.